Michael Malone needed to replace Henri Veesaar, and my dude is not messing around. Scion Kaita, you are a Tar Heel.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, breaking news emergency podcast edition. I'm your host, Isaac Shade. Here we go, Tuesday evening. Scion Keita is a Tar Heel. We talked about him on today's show at length. Michael Malone, Chuck Martin in Spain right now to go see FC Barcelona, where not just Sayon Keita is there, but also Joaquin Boumtje, who Carolina is talking to as well. I feel like you got to give it the shoulders every time you say Boumtje. This is great news for Carolina, who, like, we talked about him. We're going to talk about him. But the first thing I want to hit and the first thing I want to say about Keita is this. I love that with all the freak out of Henri Veesaar being out and gone, Michael Malone is moving fast. He's not playing around. He's saying, all right, look, we have a plan. We're going to bring it to fruition, and we're ready to go. And it is a reminder, as I said over the weekend, look, this staff was not caught with their pants down with Henri Veesaar leaving. They have been preparing for all these eventualities, including that Henry might go off to the NBA draft. They've been talking, they've been making contacts, and he is moving fast. I am encouraged by that. I think it's part of what you get when you bring in this NBA guy. It's like, no, okay, you're out. Cool. Who's next? Right? For all you West Wing people, you just got to move on to it. And so I absolutely love that. So Michael Malone, great stuff. As we get going, y'all, I've got a dinner party I need to leave for in literally 25 minutes from right now. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to get some of your comments and questions because I know that you got them. We're going to look at what's next. We're going to talk about Sayon Keita himself, all of that. So let's get after it. For those who haven't been introduced to Keita yet, he's 18 years old. He's another 7-footer, the second 7-foot commitment Carolina has got in the last 2 days, along with Cade Bennerman, the Northwestern transfer. Of course, both of these guys are slight in build. Bennerman is 205, at least on Northwestern's roster last year. Keita is 215. Keita is from Mali, which is kind of near the west coast of Africa, just inland. I know that specifically because we literally pulled up the map on yesterday's show as we talked about Keita. He plays for FC Barcelona over in Spain. Again, that's why Coach Malone is there right now, where he's done so since 2023. And if you're not familiar with this name, that's okay. But here's what you need to know. Keita is not some out-of-the-blue rando international that we've never heard of before. No. This young man came on a visit to North Carolina last August 1st. He was in the stretch of visiting 6 schools in 6 days from July 28th to August 2nd of 2025. Kansas, then Indiana, then Kentucky, then Duke, then Carolina, then UConn. I say that to tell you, this dude is wildly talented. He's young, he's raw, but the talent is so tantalizing that any blue blood who's a blue blood and just about every other school in the country wants him. And who got him? Michael Malone. Dude, put respect on this dude's name right out of the gate. I love to see it. So again, Keita has a very high ceiling. He does need development. He is raw because he's young. That's part of it. So now that he's a Tar Heel, he's going to come to Carolina. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are going to be some things he does on both sides of the floor that are going to wow you. There will be moments of brilliance, whether it's a transition dunk, whether it's a blocked shot, whatever it may be. But there are going to be freshman moments where you're going to scratch your head and say, buddy, what are you doing out there? And that's part of what we're going to have to live with Keita next year. So just be aware of that right out of the gate. But again, hear me say, this dude is one of the most talented international prospects on the market right now. There's some others that Carolina is talking to that are right there, maybe a little bit above or below, depending on your taste, dealer's choice there. But Man, I am very excited about this. A couple things from some other talent evaluators. Jonathan Gavoni from Draft Express, that used to be with ESPN, says that Kaita is oozing with talent as a finisher, a passer, offensive rebounder, and shot blocker with a 7'5" wingspan. He says huge talent injection for Michael Malone. He said Mike Malone. We're not screwing that up here on Locked On Tar Heels. We say Michael Malone because that's what Coach Malone wants. Travis Branham, one of the lead evaluators for 247 Sports, says elite shot blocker and defender. And so you look at some of those statements from those guys. What I love is that you're seeing both offensive production pieces and defensive production pieces, and that's very encouraging to read. From this thing of oozing talent as a finisher. If you go watch tape on Kaita, what you are going to see, he in the lane. I mean, it's what, remember last year, a lot of times Caleb Wilson goes up to dunk and you're like, oh, there's no way. That he just dunked that. Okay, Stretch Armstrong, I see you. Kaita is a lot of that too. You're like, there's no way he's about to dunk that. Oh, he just dunked that. But oozing talent as a passer too. When you think about bigs, you don't want a black hole big. You don't want somebody that, and by that I mean when the ball goes in, it's never coming back out. That's not Kaita. He is a willing and capable passer who will do that for these Tar Heels. And man, you think about some of the talent Carolina has already amassed in the backcourt and at the wing, and you feel really good about that. I mean, the size of all of these dudes, at least in terms of height. So the offensive rebounder, one of the things Carolina historically has done, not as much in the Hubert Davis era, but in the Roy Williams era with Coach Smith, etc., was offensive rebounded the ball, the Dickens out of it, if we can use a Roy Williams phrase. You get up a shot, and even if it's not a great shot, Kennedy Meeks or Tyler Zeller or Bryce Johnson or Tyler Hansbrough, whomever it is going to go get it and get that putback, and you're going to win the not only the offensive rebounding battle, but the second chance points battle as well. And when you've got somebody like this with those instincts on the offensive glass, you are going to put yourself in great shape. And then obviously the shot blocker side of it as well, that both Gavoni and Branham talk about, is the rim protection. I think back to the team 2 seasons ago when you just think about that front court and its lack of height and how easily other bigs came in or other guards drove to the lane. And you contrast that with what Carolina was able to do this year with the size and defensive capability of both Caleb Wilson and Henri Veesaar. With that heightened rim protection, it put Carolina in such a better space. And so I'm really encouraged by all that. The length, I mean, he's just gangly, and I love it. So we want to talk about a few other things, some other pluses, some other minuses. What does it mean for the shape of the roster? Is Carolina done in the front court? Is Carolina done in the back court? We'll get to all of that. We'll see if we got some questions we can get to as well, all coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, y'all, the NBA playoffs are here and every possession matters. If you're looking to get even closer to the action, FanDuel has a great offer to get you started right now. New customers can bet $5, and if that bet wins, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets to turn $5 into $150 just for getting started. I like using FanDuel during the playoffs because everything you need is right there in one place. It's a really easy app to navigate, makes playoff basketball even more engaging from start all the way to finish. You can check stats and trends and matchups before making your pick, making that whole experience feel a lot more informed. Right now, North Carolina, their championship odds for next season at FanDuel are not great. It's plus 3,500. I'm going to tell you right now, that's probably about to change with this infusion, but Duke and Michigan and Florida right now, they lead the way at plus 700. If you want to get in on that action, do it right now. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Again, that's FanDuel. Play your game. Thanks for making Locked On Tar Heels your first listener watch. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you never miss an episode, time to make it official. Join the Everydayer Club, where you get ad-free versions of the show, where you get one-on-one messaging with me and more. all built for you, our most loyal fans. That link's down in the show notes. Go check it out. All right, we want to keep talking about Scion Kaita and what he's going to bring to North Carolina, as well as we want to talk about some deficiencies, because I'm always I want to give you the full picture. While I'm a glass half full person, you all know this about your boy Isaac. You know that I want to give you the things that a person needs to grow in as well. So one of the other things I haven't mentioned yet is the mobility. While there is some rawness, one of the things that he does, you think of, I'll use this example. I'm sorry that this young man is about to catch a stray, but he's going to. Olivier Rioux, who played at Florida past 2 years, is 7'9", and he's just massive. And he went into the portal this offseason. Everybody said, with Carolina and other schools, my team needs height. Let's go get Olivier Rioux, the Frenchman. Problem is, my dude is like a deer that's just been birthed, where it's, you know what I'm saying? You can barely move, not very mobile. With Kaita, this guy is 7 feet tall, but he glides. He gets out and he can run. He can move and pivot. Yes, there is growth, absolutely. But the mobility, to see him tip a pass and lead the break, or get out and run ahead of the break. I just think about some of those great Carolina teams and some of what made them incredible. Yes, the secondary break, but the primary break, where you have a big who is willing to run rim to rim. Maybe you get a block, you get an outlet pass, and boom, you're gone, and then you get it back and dunk, whatever it is. Or maybe in the secondary break as well. And with Kaita, that is one of my favorite things, is this dude can go. He can run. The shooting, he's not going to step out right now. He's going to be more of an interior threat. And that's part of what you do. But again, very excited for this edition. And the question now becomes, okay, Isaac, North Carolina desperately needs to fill out this front court, because you lose Henri Veesaar, and now you're in a world of hurt. I've actually, I came literally straight home from a meeting, so I've not even had time to update my roster not scholarship chart anymore, because everybody's on scholarship, but just the roster chart. So what I'm going to do is pull up the one I made yesterday for Cade Bennerman being added in, but we'll just pretend like Kaita's on it as well. So for those of you watching, you can see it here. For those of you listening later, welcome, glad you're here. You can check this out. I will have it on my Twitter by the time you're listening to this. So in the green at the bottom there, you see the three freshmen of Maximo Adams, Cade Bennerman, who's a redshirt freshman coming over from Northwestern, as well as Malloy Smith. Go ahead and add Sayon Keita, to that list. You've got the sophomores of Matt Abel, the NC State transfer, Neo Avdalas, the Virginia Tech transfer, and Isaiah Dennis, the returner to Carolina. You've got Maxime Loguet, who's coming over from FAU, kind of an undersized big, but a bulky big, like the opposite of what Keita is. And then and then John Holbrook, we wait to see if he, kind of a more walk-on level player, will be back. And then at the senior level, Jaden Young returning in the backcourt, Jaron Stevenson returning in the front court, Evan Smith kind of in that same group with John Holbrook, and then Terrence Brown Jr., the 20-point-a-game scorer that's coming over from Utah. And so you're like, all right, Isaac, so what are we looking at here in the front court? Well, the front court pieces are Jaron Stevenson, Maxime Loguet, Cade Bennerman, and now Keita. So you've got Stevenson, Loguet, Maximo Adams, who can play kind of the 4 or the 3, not really the 4 or the 5, Bennerman, and now Keita. For my money's worth, Keita is going to be somebody that will challenge to be Carolina's starting 5 as we start to think about the roster. And my goodness, this team, let's say, for argument's sake, let's say he is your starting 5. And again, if you're tuning in late and you missed it, I have not added him yet to the roster makeup chart, just because I was wanting to get this going so quickly. So imagine Keita's on there. Say he's starting at the 5, 7 feet tall. Let's say then that you pair Jaron Stevenson alongside him at the 4. That's 6'10". And let's say you start Neo Avdalas at the 3. He's a 6'9" guard capabilities. So you're going 6'9", 6'10", 7 foot, but one of those is truly a guard who led his team in assists last year, right? It's not just like 3 bigs and like, oh, will this work? It will absolutely work. Let's say you start Matt Abel at the 2. He's 6'6", and let's say you're starting Terrence Brown at the 1. He's 6'3". So you could go with a starting lineup if nothing changed other than what we know today. 6'3", 6'6", 6'9", 6'10", 7 foot. And not just size, but talent. Talented players at those positions with different types of talent and capability. And I think that's parts of what's encouraging about what we're seeing with this roster as it stands right now. But here's the thing for me. Carolina is not done. I truly believe you think about, all right, who do you need to pair a Keita with? I mean, maybe you still look for something at the 4. I think one of the biggest important things to do is another player at the 5. Yes, you've got Bennerman. He's more, in my opinion, of a depth piece. That's going to be helpful in practice and in other places, and he might legitimately play a role. You've got Logay, who, again, is an undersized guy, but he's got some thickness to him that, you just think about having to play different matchup styles. He can do that at the 4, the 5, that kind of thing. However Coach Malone would want to play. But as you think about who to pair Keita with, ideally somebody maybe with that same kind of height, like 6'11", 7 foot, 6'10", maybe, but that maybe already has a little bit more size to them. Ideally, I'd like to have someone with a little more age and experience, but maybe you could get somebody to pair along Keita, and maybe, who knows, in this portal era, it's somebody that could stick around for a little bit. There's just different ways to address this, and you start to think about it. So, like with a Joaquin Boomche, for example, he's not 250, but 247 has him at 7 feet tall, 230. That is definitely more size than we're talking about with Keita or Bennerman for that matter, right? And so, but again, as you think about Boomje, and we're going to talk about him on another episode, but he's very young. He's someone that is not even eligible for the 27 draft. He'd have to go somewhere for 2 years. Could he be somebody that you get at Carolina for more than 1 year? Maybe so. And so just look at that I truly do not believe that Carolina is done here in the front court. They need another piece, because let's say Keita could give you a solid 20 minutes a game this freshman year. Could you get somebody else that can pair with him? And that's your other 20 minutes in the front court, or, like a mixture of all these pieces. Cause you got Jaren, he's kind of the linchpin. And I'm Jaren Stevenson, buddy, big year for you. You need to step up. You need to continue to show leadership, a more consistent 3-point shot. But, he needs to, I know he's a soft-spoken guy. He needs to be the ringleader of this front court. Bring all these new guys in and say, all right, boys, here's how we do it in Chapel Hill. I grew up here. Yes, I've only played here now 1 year, but I know what to do. I've experienced the Final Four, which he did while he was at Alabama, right? Like there's a lot of capability to him there. Now, one other thing I do want to say about Keita, then we'll take one more break. Then I want to get to your comments, because I know you guys got some great questions about this, maybe some things I haven't even addressed yet. As you go watch some of the FC Barcelona footage or look at the stats or data, you might be underwhelmed by what you see from Keita. But I want to remind you that this is an 18-year-old young man playing alongside dudes that are 28, 29, like a decade older than him, with grown man strength, as he's still growing into his body. So if he can get to Carolina, and obviously we'll have to wait to see what the timelines are going to be. I think we all have some PTSD from the Luka Bogovac of it all last summer. But can you get him to Carolina pretty quickly and really, really go to town on weight gain in and specifically through muscle? But I mean, good grief, whatever kind of weight you can add on, buddy, we'll take it. Go eat all the Twinkies you can, because the ACU, you're going to have to put on some weight for that. So one other thing I'll say here is, I mentioned, I think Carolina is not done in the front court. I think at least one more piece, but you got multiple scholarships still available. At least one more front court piece. And here's the other one for me. I think Carolina in the backcourt could use both shooting, because right now there's not a bona fide sniper on the roster. There's not a Milan Momcilovic who led Carolina. Boy, I wish he had been at Carolina, who led the nation in made threes and 3-point percentage last year as like a 6'8" 6'8" small forward, 3-man. So I think Carolina needs shooting, but I also think they need another ball handler. You've kind of got this duality where both Terrence Brown can do it, where Neo Avdalas can obviously do it. But you need kind of like that Nate Britt kind of guy, that Quentin Thomas kind of guy, who can come in, that Melvin Scott kind of guy, some Tar Heel backups of old that could really be that just guy that maybe the phrase I would use is like get you into sets, a guy that can run what Coach Malone and the staff are looking for to help Carolina be in the position they need to be in to get it. Now, ideally, could you get somebody that does both of those? Well, those guys have all pretty much been snapped up. And, you know, maybe you look for that in the portal, maybe internationally, maybe guys that might come back from the NBA draft. As a reminder, we talked about this on Tuesday's full show. It sounds like if Charlie Baker, the NCAA president, has his way, the 5-and-5 guys, or the guys that are just graduating right now, will not be grandfathered into 5-and-5. So, you know, like the Seth Trimbles of the world, that doesn't seem like that's going to be an option. So keep that in mind as well. All right. I want to get to your comments, and got one other thing to say, not about specifically about Kaita's commitment, but we'll save most of that about the NCAA tournament expansion. Ew, gross. Coming up in just a second. All right. You might have seen the report from Pete Thamel and others that came out this afternoon. It sounds like it's been a thing every offseason, but now legitimately the NCAA tournament is expanding. NCAA, can you not get out like for anyway? You know what? I'm going to save it. We're going to do that for the full. I think we're going to go. I've got this dinner party that I was talking about that I got to go to. So I think we'll go live with like our Wednesday show later tonight, or maybe I'll just record it and it'll come up on YouTube on Wednesday morning. Either way, we are definitely going to have to talk about that. All right. Derek Pereira, what's up? Derek says, with this pickup, what pieces are we missing? Backup point. Yeah, Derek, we just talked about that, but yes, I think that is the play. You need a backup point guard / shooting. I don't know if with all the backcourt pieces that are already there, I don't know if Carolina will add 2 more in the backcourt, because there is the potential of adding 3 more pieces, because last year, John Holbrook was one of those that was grandfathered into the house settlement. So Carolina actually had 16, one above the roster limit last year. Assuming that's the same for him this year, Carolina could add, in addition to Keita, could add 3 more players. So we'll see what Coach Malone wants to do, right? We don't know yet. We don't know his system. We don't know what he's going to want to do, but I think at least 1 each in the front and backcourt. And I would love, like get as many eggs in the basket as you can and see what you can add. Austin Hedrick, our guy, says we could use another playable 7-footer. I think bigger than a playable 7-footer. There are some who think that I almost said Ruben Boom J. That's Joaquim's dad. That Joaquim Boom J. I said it 3 times. Let's just say JBB, right? That's what we do in the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. The JBB, some people think might even be a higher talented player than Keita. But I think they are both high-level guys. They're just both young, both really young. So, Austin, yeah, I'm right with you, but I would say even above playable 7-footer, like starting level 7-footer. Because if Carolina can go land 2 of those guys, think about how they can push each other in practice. Like, I go get them, man. Load up. Apologize. A couple of you asked, like, is the live not working or has it just not started yet? It just hadn't started yet, Mark Whitaker. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. And so there you go. Lots of excitement for this, of what it's going to be, and what Keita is going to bring to the table. Oh, this is an interesting point here from Frosted Blakes. What a screen name. I love it, Frosted Blakes. He doesn't need to be a star, meaning Keita. Just needs to do traditional big man things around 4 solid starters. And there is a reality to that. I think we as Tar Heel thinkers are all coming off a season where Carolina was built around the front court. And if the front court was just solid, do traditional big man things, as Frosted Blake said here, that Carolina wasn't going to win because the backcourt didn't show up enough and consistently enough game to game in the same way that Caleb and Henry both did last year. But it feels like Carolina's floor is raised this offseason in terms of like talent and capability and how those pieces can and will fit together. And so there's a level at which you say to Kaita and any other big men that play along, like, hey, we want you to be great. We want you to be a star. But we need you. What we need you to do is be solid, be dependable, be consistent. And so the faster that he can grow up and learn to be in an American college, because that's going to be part of the transition that all of these guys go through. But again, there are going to be up and down moments. For example, he played with Dame Sarr, who was at Duke last year on FC Barcelona. And you saw a lot of that from Dame. Up and down a lot of the earlier part of the season, really came into his own late. So the sooner that Kaita can find that consistency, the better it'll be, because you make a great point here, Frosted Blakes. Todd Pegram says, take that, Dukies. Their fans thought he'd be going there, given that he's friends with Dame Sarr, as we just talked about. And Todd says, well, so were Wayne Ellington and Gerald Henderson. Gerald Henderson, one of the enemies number one in Carolina because of what he did to Tyler Hansbrough. And along that line, Blaze 10101 says, is there a chance we also get Boom J? Here's one of the things is it sounds like I've heard over the last 24 hours, I've heard that Duke is kind of in on Boom J, trying to go after him as well. I'll say this, unless John Shire's doing something I don't know about, Michael Malone is in Spain right now. John Shire ain't. And he's seeing Kaita and Boom J know each other. And right, like there might be some cohesion there where you can say, fellas, let's take what you're already learning about each other and take it to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I would be totally down for that. All right. Here's the thing. As I said, I got to run to this dinner party. So I want to keep talking about this. I know there's a lot of other questions, comments. What I'm going to do is grab these. And when we do a full other show, whether it's going live later tonight or I record tonight and just drop it on Wednesday, I'm going to get other questions from you guys and answer those. But I also want to talk more fully about Boom J and how he might fit in at North Carolina. So be ready for that. I will give some thoughts on tournament expansion because good grief, I'm so frustrated about that. It angers me, you all. Why can't you do good things, NCAA? Anyway, thank you all for being here with me on a Tuesday evening at the dinner hour. Hopefully you're able to provide some fun and entertainment and information for you. If you haven't subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video, go ahead and do it right now. And when you hit subscribe, go ahead and hit that drop down and go all on the bell notifications. That way you get notified when we go live, new shows are dropping. If you don't already download audio versions of the show, this is my big push right now. Would you go subscribe to the show on audio, turn on automatic downloads, even if you don't listen to them, just download it because it helps grow the footprint of the show. If you're not in the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, where we're chatting about this stuff all the time, go there right now. If you're not part of the Everydayers Club and you want those perks I was talking about earlier, that link's in the show notes as well. All right, you guys, you know how we end every show. I want you to say it with me. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again later, but until then, Big Diamond Heels baseball game tonight. Make sure you're tuned in. Wow, it starts in 18 minutes, 7 o'clock Eastern, ACC Network. Be locked in. But until then, peace.